Today, we're standing in the concentration camp Dachau, which was one of the first camps that were built during the Nazi regime.
The first prisoners were communists and social democrats. Dachau was a training base for the unit whose members are responsible for the death of millions of people. After the Kristallnacht, 10,000 Jews were brought to the camp.
Dachau camp was active for 12 years, and during that time, more than 200,000 people were locked up there as prisoners. 30,000 of them had found their death in horrible condition.
This text was written by Boris Sabako, Dachau survivor. These historical days we celebrate the memory of the Dachau concentration camp. Victims who were victims of violence, torture or murder, all victims of the Nazi regime and its allies.
The biggest tribute to the victims will be to never forget them, so that the generations to come will always remember this biggest crime and draw the important lessons from it.
We pay credit to all Second World War and Holocaust survivors who had gone through the ghetto and concentration camp sorrows.
Through injustice and suffering, who were destined for death but resisted, struggled for life, preserved human dignity, and overcame death.
And it is so important and remains relevant to know, to preserve memory, to faithfully investigate history and learn from it for the whole world. It is so important that there are joint decisive actions of all honest people on the planet against hatred, evil and violence. In the name of the souls who have passed away and for the sake of our souls, we need to fight for human dignity for everyone. Promote life, not death, encourage hope, not despair, prevent violence and bless freedom, justice and peace.
Purim Spiel written by Soli Geno, Dachau survivor. They came from Auschwitz in several groups, 20 people in each. They didn't look like humans, they were more like walking skeletons. Their faces were thin and sunk cheeks, even their lips shrunk to small, thick blue lines. The only thing that caught my attention was their eyes. They were big, with a strange glamour, almost shiny.
They talked in Jewish language that sounded weird. They said they came from Auschwitz before being sent here to Dachau.
One of them always knew all the dates of the Hebrew calendar and all the prayers. One day he shouted, "Don't you know what day it is today? It is Purim. Let's do a Purim spiel." And so we did. We danced in the snow like we used to back in the day. I will never forget this Purim spiel in Dachau.
First they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a trade unionist.
Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out, because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me.
This text was written by German Lutheran pastor Martin Niemöller, opposed the Nazi regime.
Now we have a scene together. You all have the letters, okay, in English and in the words. I'm sorry, the words in Hebrew and in English, and we want you to sing with us, okay?
When they needed help, I helped them. I gave bread and medicines to the priests that were arrested in Dachau. When I needed help, when the war ended, the priests in Paris helped me find shelter and food.
When he needed help learning French, I helped him. He was my German friend from university. When I needed help at the dental lab, he helped me, the same German friend from university.
The key to a long-lasting life is to help each other.
The poet Julian Turin wrote in his poem, "We are the Polish Jews" in 1944. We didn't come here to shed a tear, we came here to light an infinity fire.
Not just a memory flame, but a never-ending fight.
For the victory of the human over the beast, for the victory of mercy and conscience over cruelty.
4,000 years ago, our Bible says, God approached Abram, the Jewish people forefather, and told him, "Get thee out thy country, and from thy kindred, and from the father's house, unto the land that I'll show you. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless you, and make thy name great, and be thou a blessing." The story of our people is a story of a person traveling to a land. For 4,000 years, we tried very hard to stay a people united with its land. It was to stay alive people. It was never easy. 3,000 years ago, hunger and drought in the land of Israel made the 12 tribes, the sons of Abraham, to immigrate to Egypt, where they became slaves. "2,005 years ago, the Babylonian Empire conquered the land of Israel, destroyed our temple, and exiled the Jewish people to Babylon, where we stayed for decades and centuries. At the year of 70 after count, the Roman Empire did the same and scattered the Jewish people all around the globe. This time, we stayed for 2,000 years in the diaspora. Wherever we were, name a time, a language, a place, Jews outside their homeland always suffered from discrimination and persecution. Inquisition in Spain, Farhud in Iraq, pogroms in Russia. But never in our 4,000 years of history, and in human history in general, the Jewish people experienced such a brutal, cruel, systematic destruction operation as it happened in the Second World War under the Nazi regime. It even has a unique name given to it, Shoah, Holocaust. Here we stand today in a concentration camp, a symbol of the systematic, very efficient, powerful attempt to degrade, abolish, humiliate, and erase from the face of the earth a whole people. Dear students, Israelis and Germans, here, especially here, in this cursed place, I want to tell you that there is an optimistic side to this story. From the slavery of Egypt, the 12 tribes returned to Israel united as one people. No more 12 tribes, one people. And got the Torah, the Bible. In the diaspora of Babylon, special Jewish spiritual leaders wrote the Mishnah and Talmud, the Torah interpretation, as they were a sublime cultural creation. And after 2,000 years in the diaspora of the Shoah, like a phoenix coming from the flame, like never before in human history, like Abraham before 4,000 years, Jews came back from all over the world, came back to their homeland, to Israel. Miraculously, they revived a dead language. They inhabited swamps and deserts and made them flourish. They recreated and created wonderful academic, cultural, and democratic society. They built the independent state of Israel. With this optimism, with this hope, we stand here today, together. We are the great-grandchildren of the generation who met here On this terrible place, they met here as opposers and subhumans. We meet here today as friends. We meet here today as equals. We meet here to say, never again. We take upon ourselves to fulfill the vision of the Scora project and oppose racism and anti-Semitism wherever we see them. May this meeting between us will make us better people, more aware, more moral, more active. If we can do it, everyone can. We never lose hope, as our national anthem says, Hatikva, where we sang together on Friday. Our hope will not be lost, the hope of the 2,000 years. עוד לא אבדה תקוותנו, התקווה בת שנות 2000. Dear German friends, staff, and students, thank you for your warm welcome. Thank you for your hospitality. Thank you for your friendship. We look forward to a successful and meaningful delegation. Thank you all.
Thank you, dear Avi. Just a few thoughts, a few words from the bottom of my heart. Sorry, it's so emotional. I'm standing here and I feel shame. No sense of guilt, but a deep feeling of shame and consternation in view of millions of human beings, Jewish people, handicapped persons, political enemies, gay people and many others, tortured and murdered in concentration camps by men and women who read and spoke verses written by Johann Wolfgang Goethe and Friedrich Hölderlin, for example, at school or at bedtime to their own children. Really amazing verses in German, my language, my beloved language, verses full of kindness and humanity. Until this day, I can't really understand that this could happen. I can only feel shame and a deep, deep sorrow. And I can remember all the crime acts and the victims in the hope that the secret of salvation is memory, is remembrance, with the clear aim that this will never happen again.
I'm going to do some religious prayers, so if you know them, just say Amen or say them if you know them. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה אמן. דלמה וקרב משיכם וקנה וקרב משיכם ולמה קדיש ואמרו אמן. עושה השלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ואמרו אמן. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד.
In the Jewish tradition, to remember is an important value. That memory must lead us to act for a moral commitment, and that memory should be the power to create a better world.
Thank you all. And there is still a few candles if someone wants really to come and light some. Thank you.